What's up, Soul Fam? It's a little cloudy out. Clouds are nice. And so are you. Self-discipline. How to strengthen it. That's probably like the focus of the year. Self-discipline. It's overrated. Motivation, it's overrated. It's unreliable. Self-discipline, not so much. Because after you do something for so long, it becomes a set of programs. And you just continue doing it. But how do you get to that level to where it just becomes a condition? Where you just effortlessly do it. And that comes from your why. Your why is the most important thing. If your why is strong enough, you don't need any motivation. You don't need any self-discipline. Because your why is that strong. It's that powerful. Why? Why do I want to become self-disciplined? Why do I want more self-discipline? So I could be the person that I came here to be. So I could leave this earth in a better place than it was when I got here. Strengthen your why. So I can make mama proud. So I can make dad proud. So I could be that rock. Doesn't matter, you know? Just strengthen your why. Strengthen your why. And don't do it anything outside yourself. It's good to do it for mom and want to make mom proud or make dad proud or anything. But more importantly, what's it do for yourself? Are you validating yourself? Because that is the only important validation. The only meaningful validation that you'll ever receive is the validation from yourself. And then you have to ask yourself, why is it more powerful when somebody else tells me I'm amazing than when I tell myself I'm amazing? You know? Why is that? Why is it that when somebody else tells you you're amazing, we get all warm, all flush, start blushing? But if we were to tell ourselves we're amazing, we'd probably be like, says who? So strengthen your why. And then if you're looking for a few things that you could just practice, a list. Create a list. 3 things every day that you should do. 1 for the mind, 1 for the body, 1 for the spirit. So meditation for the mind, exercise or breath work for the body, hanging out in nature for the soul. And that's not even that doesn't really, that's probably like an hour and a half of your day. But if you do these small little steps and you write them down like meditation and you scratch that off the list every day, you're going to feel more disciplined. You're like, I got that. I accomplished that. So just something as small as just writing a list with a few things that aren't too far outside your comfort zone that you know you could do. And every day you get to scratch them off the list and get a sense of completion. That's going to build the confidence. And with that confidence is going to come the self-discipline. Because a majority of us don't lack self-discipline. We lack confidence. And if we could just hit it from that angle, how could I become more confident? Well, what story am I telling myself? Being mindful of the story that you're creating for yourself inside your mind. Are you telling yourself that you're great, you're amazing, you could accomplish anything? You are a tiny fragment of the all experience in itself. You're here on planet Earth, a globe of water floating through infinite space. And you're this thing called a human being. Like, listen to the story that was created. Like, it's kind of hard to take things seriously when there's unanswered questions. You know what I mean? So start dissecting life a little bit more, Really consider that you're on this globe of water, labeled as this thing called a human being, floating through this vast, infinite space that never ends. That right there is kind of mind-blowing. You'd have to how does this even make sense? And the question is it don't. It only makes sense to the story that we give it. And that story that we gave it, it was given to us, and we just accepted it as truth. We never went and tried to find out the truth for ourselves. And that's the reason why we're in the dilemma that we're in on this planet. But just be mindful of the story that you're creating for yourself. or the story that is being told when you're not in there orchestrating the mind. When you're not in there, is there like a fearful story going on in the background where it takes everything in your external environment and tries to make a fearful story of it? And then we're so conditioned to believe the mind that we run with it, and then we live in fear. Well, that's because we're not orchestrating the mind. When you feed the mind positive things, garbage in, garbage out. You know what I mean? So start being mindful of the story that is being told when you're not in the mind, and then start telling it a story that is in alignment with the person that you want to become. Because that's all we're doing, is we're telling the story. Life's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And what you say will be truth for you. Doesn't matter about anybody else. The story you tell yourself is a story that's true for you. So if you tell yourself that you are self-disciplined, that you follow through, you take action, you're assertive, that will be true for you. But it takes time for that story to catch up. In the beginning, we tell ourselves these things, and the egoic mind will literally tell you, no, that's a bullshit lie. Prove it, prove it, prove it, right? So then you got to create these little small actions that you accomplish and see, mind? Told you, I can do that. And always proving the mind wrong. Like, one thing that I do is, like, to build my faith. Let's just say I'm ass out. I ain't got $1 to my name. And I'm talking to God, I'm talking to Jesus, I'm talking to my higher power, and I say, God, I need your support. I'm ass out, I ain't got much. If you could just throw me a fucking bone here, I'd be so grateful. Right? And then right after that little prayer, a blessing shows up. It's so important to be mindful of that blessing and to use it as ammo for the ego and being like, you see, ego? You see? Lower aspect, we are supported, because I just communicated with God and he just answered my prayer right here and here. So show me that we're not supported. Prove to me. I just proved to you that we are supported. Prove to me that we're not. And the universe, the ego, can never prove that you're not supported. It can come up with these bullshit lie stories, but that's just the bullshit mind telling you lies. So, always wandering off from the topic, but be the orchestrator of the mind and direct it the way you want to go. Strengthen your why, build your confidence, small steps. The reason why I say small steps is because let's just say we want to get into shape. So it starts it off like, oh, I'm just going to take an hour walk a day. And then you keep on thinking and dwelling, okay, I'm going to do that hour walk, but then I'm going to do 100 push-ups and 100 pull-ups. And then on top of that, I'm going to drink a gallon of water. And then it keeps going until we put all this expectation behind what we want to do. And we never do it because it's overwhelming, because we put so much on our plate. And then the more that you do that, and then you don't follow through, it confirms to the mind that you are failure, that you are weak, and that you can't follow through on anything. So don't make that mistake of filling your plate up and not following through. You're in a better position when you put a little on your plate and you tackle that, and then you get to scratch it off the list. So build yourself a list. 3 things. Mandatory things that you have to do every day. 1 for the mind, 1 for the body, 1 for the spirit. You can figure that out. And just know that you're the writer of this book. And depending on where you fall in that story, the title you give yourself is the title that you'll live out. So why don't you give yourself the greatest title that you can? Author, main character. And just create your story. Create it. And it will unfold. Just trust that it will. Trust that it will. See, that's the problem we have, is a lack of trust. We don't have a lack of self-discipline. a lack of motivation. We have a lack of trust. Because if we trusted and had faith that if we followed through on this, it's absolutely guaranteed that it will show up. You see? And if we knew that without a shred of doubt, there would be no reason not to take action. But seeing we doubt ourselves, we think, well, let's just say I take action. I try to take action and I fail. Kids banging on the window. And I fail. Now I'm reconfirming that failure in my mind. And then it's going to get stronger. So, I think I got off on that one too. But self-discipline is not needed when your why's strong enough. So focus on the why. And just do things that make you feel good. Don't do things because you think you're going to get validated for them. Do things because it's going to get you closer to your goal. And that's where you want to be. And you can care less whether you get a pat on the back or not. You do it because your why's strong enough. And that's all I got to say about that. Other than that, just live your best life. That's what we were here to do. This is an experience that's going to end one day. But we spend so much time worrying about things not going fast enough, we're not being good enough or worthy or any of that we never get to enjoy this life experience. And that's kind of like the intentions behind all the shit that's going on. They don't want you enjoying your life. They want you in fear of your life. And there's no reason to be in fear. You're protected. You're supported. You couldn't do anything wrong. You couldn't do anything that was out of alignment with God's plan. Knowing that, the only thing left to do is just take action. Whatever you're looking at right here in this moment, take action on it. With no expectations of what's going to come from it. And if you do that, before you know it, you'll be living your best life. Living a fucking dream, because that's what we came here to live. Came here to live. And in order to live that, we have to undo the story that is being told in our mind that makes us believe that we lack discipline, that makes us feel like we lack the motivation, that feels like we lack. It only exists in here. Lack is an illusion of the mind. Lack cannot exist out here in this universe. It's impossible. It's impossible for lack to exist out here, and it can only exist in the mind. And if something exists in the mind, the job of the universe is to confirm that. It's going to confirm. It's going to confirm lack in your life. Like, yeah, here, now you lack this, and now you lack that. Keep on lacking. Keep on lacking. But if you did the opposite of that, it's going to confirm that as well. Wow, you're abundant. Yeah, you are. See, look. More abundance, more wealth, more prosperity, more health. See? Tell the story. You're the author. You're the author. And it's not that you lack self-discipline. You lack faith, trust, and confidence. Because if you trusted that, if you followed through on your action, this would be the outcome. Faith that you are worthy, that you are in alignment, and that everything that is already yours will show up when it needs to show up. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to rush anything. And just being confident in yourself. Just knowing that you're a child of God and that you have infinite power. You just don't believe you do. Work on that belief. Change your beliefs, change your life.